Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, everybody. Today I'm interviewing Beth Owens, co-founder and marketing strategist of BrandEra Marketing Agency in Fort Worth, Texas. With over 20 years in brand management, Beth is a results-oriented marketing and sales professional skilled in developing both regional and national campaigns. As a result of her strength in customer relations and business development, she plans and executes effective marketing and these sales strategies that revs up revenue and activate participation from a variety of BrandEra's clients. Prior to forming BrandEra Incorporated, Beth served as Director of Marketing and then Vice President of Marketing and Sales of American IronHorse Motorcycle Company. Beth has also devoted her time to a number of educational philanthropic causes. She's a youth mentor and community volunteer. She's taught business and marketing courses as an adjunct professor at Texas Wesleyan University. She is the founding chair at the Women's Alliance of the Arlington Chamber of Commerce, volunteers on the Downtown Arlington Management Corporation Marketing Committee, and is a member of the Women's Business Council Southwest. Beth is also a director of the AISD Education Foundation and a community advisor to Junior League of Arlington. She frequently guest lectures on branding, marketing, and communications at universities, professional associations, and annual meetings. Wow, that's quite the intro, right? So welcome, Beth. Very, very happy to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. Before we jump in, can you tell us a bit more about yourself? I know I've spoken a lot about what it is you do, but can you talk about who Beth Owens is?
Sure. Well, I'm a 25-year veteran in marketing. I got my start out of graduate school. My undergrad degree is from DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana. Studied Spanish and political science. I have a master's in international management from Thunderbird. And upon graduating, I thought I was going to pursue brand management in South America. But then as life would throw a curveball, I met my husband in the Nashville airport, and we settled back in Texas.
That's funny. And what led you into advertising and the PR field? Is this something you kind of always wanted to do, or is it something you stumbled into?
I'd always been very interested in marketing and sales, and people profiled me for sales positions based on my personality and some of my interests. But my exact career path was perhaps more of a stumble.
And what personal attributes or traits or qualities you think contributed the most to your success?
Well, I've always been very passionate about the projects that I work on. People identify that that I exhibit a lot of energy and get really excited about whether it's the product or my particular client or that type of thing. And so I think that, coupled with a natural curiosity and just a desire to always learn about new products, about new methods of marketing, about new ways to reach target audiences, has served me well.
Yeah, I guess as a marketer, you need to be a little curious, right?
That's right.
And can you give some specific examples why or when these traits played a big role in you achieving this level of success?
Well, from my very first job, I was hired to handle international sales, and I thought I'd receive some type of orientation, to my new position. And I can remember my boss said, "We're selling a lot of diesel engines in Thailand. Figure it out and do it some more." And that was the sum total of my training. And then it was up to me to figure it out. And I think that passion for learning served me well, because there wasn't anyone who was going to, do it for me. I had to absolutely figure out the game plan. And after we did our sales trip to Southeast Asia and sold several $1 million worth of diesel engines, I would consider that a success.
Sure is. Speaking of success specifically, obviously there's no straight line to success, right? What are some of the major adversities or trials you had to overcome to achieve your goals?
Well, I've had to both reinvent myself and the direction of our business because of market changes and even client focus. We started BrandEra. I co-own it with my business partner, Reesan Jokel, and she and I started it secondary to a layoff. We were both on staff at American IronHorse Motorcycle Company, and we were laid off, and so we started BrandEra, and our first kind of portfolio of clients were all motorcycle-oriented, power sport-oriented, which was obviously a field that we had great contacts in, but as the economy changed, it put us in a precarious position being so concentrated in one particular industry. So after that, we really worked hard to diversify and be broad-based and pursue other clients that weren't quite so volatile.
One thing that I like to ask my successful entrepreneurs is, how do you manage to keep going despite obstacles that were put in front of them? There comes a time when you hit a wall, and that's what makes the difference between a successful one and a least successful entrepreneur. And I'd like to hear from you what you managed to do to keep going.
Well, one of the things I think entrepreneurs particularly have to do is to form their own board. It doesn't have to be formal. It can just be that group of trusted friends or mentors that you can take business challenges to. I think it's always important to have some outside perspective from some other experienced business professionals, and so that has served me well through the years. If I've gotten to a point where I'm just stuck or just need a mental shift, if you will, to be able to call on these folks and get their perspective, and perhaps even get a little bit of a affirmation that, my gut instinct was correct, or just that maybe a different approach to something.
Excellent advice. What I in the same direction, what I tend to hear is that entrepreneurs tend to try to work alone and try to do everything themselves. So to be able to reach out and find the right people to reach out is key. So you really touched on that very well. I appreciate that. Thank you. Now let's talk about your vision for your business. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years or so?
Well, I want our firm to continue to grow. We're on a really nice growth curve. There's some things strategically that I want us to pursue. We are a women business enterprise and a historically underutilized business, and those carried some certain designations, but I know I'm underutilizing their full potential. I'm in the process of going through some coursework with the Small Business Development Center to put us in alignment with perhaps larger agencies or big companies that need a sub to their prime in contracts. So that's one thing that we're pursuing. And then it's also just continuing to learn new ways to reach our target markets and become adept at selling those methods of marketing.
Interesting. This leads me to the next question, which is a bit of a loaded question considering you're a marketing company. By that, I mean, I'd be interested to know how you plan on marketing yourself in the future to achieve these goals.
Well, I think, a lot of it is about visibility. It's about being a subject matter expert. It's about being on the front line and being top of mind for clients to consider. And so for us, we get a lot of referrals, and we work through a lot of client engagements to pick up that next client. We also compete through request for proposal through an RFP process for many of our opportunities. So it's just really working hard to become the first agency that they consider, and not too far down the list.
Well, that's a very good answer. Looking at your clients now, what do you think the one common problem is amongst the clients that you first start working with?
Well, many times clients will have very clear ideas about sales goals for the coming year. They can tell you the number of accounts they want to add. They can tell you the overall revenue number that they want to drive. But then when you ask them, what is the marketing plan to drive that increased sales effort, that's where you see the disconnect. Because they typically don't have a marketing plan in place, yet they put pretty aggressive expectations on sales staff. And so that's a real market opportunity for us to help them through that process and to create that strategic marketing plan that ties to their sales goals and really makes those sales goals a reality.
So in a lot of ways, it implies that they need to make some changes, right? What are some of the common misconceptions your clients have about making these changes? What's holding them back?
I mean, sometimes we see clients, particularly those that are in the startup mode, they do not anticipate their own success. And so I guess they're geared to a smaller gain. And then when business comes at them aggressively, they're not able to respond.
And on that note, I mean, if you were able to change their ways and help them make these changes, can you give us an example of the kind of benefit these companies that make that jump see?
Well, I think those companies that do aggressively plan for their own success, they are from the get-go, like laying the foundation for scalable growth. They're also putting in place process and procedures that are duplicatable. And so, as it relates to service businesses, you want to make sure that, as your business grows, you're not compromising that service experience with your clients. And so, we really work hard with our clients to understand where they see themselves going so we can, help them all along the process.
Great. Before we wrap it up, what kind of advice or what one piece of advice would you give someone who's considering hiring, let's say, a company like yourself to develop that kind of program, but they don't really know where to start, how to choose the right firm? So is there some kind of an advice you'd like to recommend our listeners here?
Well, I think, if you're going to hire a marketing firm, you want to look at their portfolio, what types of companies have they worked with. You want to take a look at the work, is it aesthetically pleasing? Is it compelling copy, professional looking, that type of thing. And then, it's always appropriate to ask for some referrals and get a sense of, how their service delivery has been. And then I think it's also about chemistry. You have to be in partnership with a marketing agency. They really have to be able to anticipate the moves of the client. So, you have to feel confident that you can share confidential information, that you can really be transparent about the direction of your business. And, that only works if there's the right chemistry between the service provider and the client.
Excellent advice. Now, how can our listeners learn more or actually get in touch with you?
Well, they can always reach us at the office, and that number's 817-927-7750. And then, of course, they can check out our website at BrandEraMarketing.com, and that's BRANDERA, marketing all spelled out, .com.
Perfect. Well, a huge thank you for taking the time to sharing these stories with us. This was extremely interesting and enlightening. So once again, a huge thank you.
My pleasure.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.